All right, this video is to show how to administer record of participation penalties in tech score um, for college sailing or for high school sailing, I suppose, too. But for our purposes, for the Pacific Coast Conference, the login credentials are not going to be shown here, but you log in using those credentials for the commissioner because that is the only one that has admin privileges for everything. The only things that'll show up here are regattas that are upcoming. So if you want to administer RP penalties, you have to go to all regattas and go to previous events. For events that have passed, you'll see a couple of possibilities finalized. Finalized means that there are no record of participation issues and you don't need to do anything to those regattas. This is not our regatta because it doesn't have a checkered flag. These are ones we can deal with. Pending means the regatta's passed the date, but they have not finalized it. So they haven't done summaries and clicked finalize. I'll come back to that in a second. So we'll go back one more page to invent. You'll see there's no finishes for this one. They didn't get any races because there was no win. Bryson's women's fleet race finalized, missing RP for the top nine. So I'm going to click on that. And then you can click RP forms, missing RP. And it'll show you where you've got record of participation missing. The other thing you can do is just go to the full scores for that event. So here's the top nine event and click on the divisions and kind of take a look and see why are there issues. For San Diego State, it says it's missing one race. That's because it was the 9 race regatta and they have 1 through 8 listed, and that was just an error in how they filled it out. But UCLA is just fully did not fill out record of participation, which is really not okay. So they have to be penalized. For San Diego State, my recommendation is remind them that they got to put everything on there, and it's an education process. So in this situation, I'm actually going to go in and change San Diego State's 9th race, and instead of 1 through 8, they should have done an asterisk, which will automatically fill in all races. As you can see, there was just 4 sailors here, so there's no need to like say which sailor sailed which races and then submit form. Now, if I go to missing RP, you'll see that San Diego State is complete. UCLA, however, is still missing everything, and I can't tell them who sailed. So if they have listed who sailed, but they like filled in 1 through 8 instead of 1 through 9, I just fix it for them. Um, but if they just didn't fill in names at all, then you need to add a team penalty. And you go to finishes, team penalty. You're going to click on UCLA. You can select both divisions because, again, if we go back to the scores, you can see they did not fill it out for A or B division. So I kind of have both tabs open usually. You select missing RP info. That is 20 points per division. Enter team penalty. And it is done. In about 1 minute, it will show up in the actual event. At that point, it is recommended that you go to the team contact, email them, and say you are still required to fill out the record of participation for these sailors. You have received a penalty. So, boom, that's that. That regatta is done. I'm just going to go over here to the scores one more time and click refresh to see if they show up. Not yet. All right, so that should show up shortly. On the Cal Poly one, if they have it pending, and so like say it's the day after the regatta, technically speaking, they're supposed to have this filled out. I'm going to go to missing RP, and you can still get that information. You can see that, essentially there's just 2 teams that messed up. The Cal Poly Mustangs one messed up with 1 race. So I'm going to go to them first because that was just a little accident. And I'm willing to let that slide. So they have 1 through 5, 6 through 10. Here it is. See, 1 through 4, and then they had these people sail 6 through 10. So they should have put 1 through 5. Boom. And that will correct that one. Pretty obvious what happened there. You go back to missing RP, and you can see Cal Poly Phillies didn't fill in anything. So I'm going to go to the finishes, and I'm going to add a team penalty for the Cal Poly Phillies. Before I do that, I'm going to go back and see if the RP, yeah, see there's your MRP. It just showed up. They just got 20 points per division in the top 9. Now I'm going to go back to spring 2025 and go to our most recent event, Cal Poly Mustang Open. And I'm just going to confirm that indeed the Phillies here, the Cal Poly women's team, did not fill out any RP info in either case. And that just makes it easy because I'm going to do Cal Poly Phillies, get a penalty in both divisions, missing RP, enter team penalty. Boom, done. The other ones that didn't fill out anything in both divisions, if I'm correct, are UC Berkeley Ursas, right? So they did it for their this team up here, but as a note, this is not correct. They should have a tech score profile for this person, so they kind of force filled in some names. So anybody you see like this, I would email them and remind them that they need to actually have like a tech score profile. But for now, the main job is I'm going to go and just make sure that the URSAs, yes, indeed, did not fill out RP form for either division. So we're going to go to the Berkeley URSAs. We're going to select A and B division, missing RP, enter team penalty. If you mess up, you can drop these team penalties by coming back here. Close this and then go to all regattas. And you can check. Ironically, the JV group, as I recall, crushed it on RP. There's like here, see, they missed some races, so you can clean up this. The Monterey Bay Otters and like University of Nevada, Reno, they just got a tech score profile. So I would email them and say, I'm a little bit more flexible. Santa Clara, these are teams that have had trouble with tech score. But once you kind of explain how it goes, you kind of like say, hey, look, you got to fill it out. And if they don't, then you penalize them. That's it. You teach them, you give them a chance to do it right and warning, and then you go for penalties. Now, the Berkeley Bears, there's just really no excuse here, but I can see they just accidentally didn't sail out all the races, so I'm not going to penalize them here. I'm going to go to the UC Berkeley, and I'm just going to do asterisks, and that'll put 1 through 10, which will make them good. Berkeley Bears 1 and Berkeley Bears 2. This is again a situation where they have their sailors, but they clearly need to be reminded just to use an asterisk. In this situation, they won 1 through 2, so this is 3, 2 through 10. If this is a conference championship, I would not do this. If it's a grade 2 or something like that, I'm going to be a lot more difficult on it. But for the purposes of this, um, I think it's a JV event, and that's okay to just get it done that way. So now, like for instance, if I look at this, Cal Poly Mustang's another one. We'll go fix them. What did they do wrong here? Oh, yeah, 1 through 2, 3 through 5. I'm assuming that this person did 6 through 10. And it's at your discretion how you want to do this. This is kind of really pretty liberal on my part here to do this. So I don't know if everybody feels as comfortable, but I kind of look at it as like, well, you know, this is clearly they just made like a little mistake here. Is it worth 20 points? That's a little bit different than these other ones. Like they did it correctly in the rest of these, right? So that's where it's like, okay, it's better. But if you like look at, for instance, now we're looking good. It's just Monterey, Santa Clara, and University of Nevada, Reno. These are teams I would email and say remind them to fill out their RP. And like the problem with them, of course, is that you can't do anything for Monterey Bay. Oh, no, here, this is a great example. So they're brand new. They are actually doing it. They've been warned. They're doing it, but they don't know to do the asterisks. So they just said, oh, they sailed all the regattas. We'll just put the number 8 down, as in we sailed 8 races. So I think we need to just remind them that, and then they're going to be good. And so hopefully you're catching on how this looks. You're kind of cleaning up the data for the people who just sort of made small errors. Like Santa Clara, same thing. Turns out everybody actually did a pretty good job on this. But like University of Nevada, Reno, I will not penalize because they are brand new and they literally don't have a scoring account, and that's because you have to email the executive director to get one. And so they don't have any. Oh, they've got, look at that. They do have sailors. I'll be darned. So maybe they could do it, but I don't think he can fill out who it is. That's part of the issue. So they've had 2 profiles filled out. So good for them. But they don't have a scoring account yet. So I'm going to leave that one be. And that kind of gives you the idea of what's happening. So like if I go back here, you're going to start seeing RP forms start turning up and things like that. So the MRP turned up, Division B, MRP turned up. All these other ones are good. All right, so hopefully that gives you an idea of what you need to do on all of these things. If you go back for spring, I think I finished up all the fall. You can kind of dig through and get deeper into the spring and double check events, but we might be good. Like the Husky Women's no finishes, Mustang Team Race looks like everybody had it, but you're welcome to go through and check them all. Frost Soft's missing RP, right? So that would be one to go check in, make sure that they've been penalized. But I believe I've done most of those, but definitely these Jeff Simons. All right, that is the long and short of it. I hope you enjoyed this educational video made by Brad Choppeter. I will post this to our YouTube channel so we can have it for everybody. Cool.